Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go before the start of the second half of this game between the University School Suns and the North Broward Eagles. If you're just joining us, welcome. We have 6 viewers right now for future reference, and we're also saving this part. We did not get the first half. Sorry about that. We've been having technical difficulties all night. But that is all right, because we're going to wrap up the first half for you. Now, tell me, Ben, tell me a little bit about Coppercova. How will North Broward be able to neutralize him for the future?
Well, I think the key to it is don't let him beat you. If you take him out of the game, put 3 or 4 guys on him if necessary, make the other 4 guys on the court beat you, even though Nicholas Benito has been having a good game, then I'd take that if I'm North Broward. Make the other 4 guys on the court beat you, and I think you're going to be in good shape.
Exactly. It's all going to come down to the fast break. North Broward is a very fast team. They can wear out University School, as has been happening with Coppercova. He's been on the bench because North Broward has been keeping him tired, and that is going to be the key. We got 20 seconds remaining on the clock, and it looks like the action is going to start any moment. And here comes the clock reset, 8 minutes. Here we go, period 3.
I think if you're University School, then what you want to do is you want to play smash mouth basketball, ground and pound into the paint against the smaller Eagles team.
I thought you were saying something about, being an all-star. Charger, we need a computer charger. You are stepping on it. We apologize for the continued music. I was playing music at the same time that I'm trying to broadcast, and it's kind of hard to leapfrog in between the two.
Yeah, that's sort of like rubbing your head and tapping your stomach all at the same time, just at a more high level.
And one where a lot more people are watching. Number 1, that is, and now I have 2 copies of the notes. There's yours. Mike Moore came up with that 3-pointer. And North Broward scores. It is now 27-24.
Yeah, that was Steigelfest again for the Eagles. Coming up big again early in the half.
Here comes number 24, Costa, passes it over to number 5, Benito. He's been having a big game. Over to number 10, Tabachnik. He's looking for an open man, finds one in Benito. He passes it over to Moore, to Tabachnik. Over to 24, Acosta, to Tabachnik, to Acosta, seeing a trend here.
Yeah, and if I may jump in, the Suns cannot find a way to get the ball to Coppercova. That is big. If the Eagles can continue to take Coppercova out of the game, as I said, then I think they have a very good chance at winning this basketball game.
North Broward right now is playing some excellent zone defense. They make sure that wherever Coppercova is, there is someone there in that zone. Now, I might be confusing it with man-to-man, but I think that they're pretty evenly spaced out, so I'd call that zone.
Yeah, that's about a zone, and there is actually 2 guys going wherever Coppercova is going. So they're just making a concerted effort to take Coppercova out of the game, just as I said.
Now Benito comes in with the layup, and North Broward will take that, because at least it wasn't Coppercova. We're talking a lot about him, but when you're talking about someone who is 6'11", 240 pounds, and in 8th grade, you've got a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. The rest of the district and the rest of South Florida has to hope he's not going to grow anymore.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's recruited in sophomore year.
Yeah, oftentimes you do see college coaches going after younger players. Bob Knight at Indiana used to have a reputation of going after 8th graders in the state of Indiana.
And don't forget people like Kobe Bryant who were drafted straight out of high school. It could happen, especially when you're 6'11". Kobe Bryant wasn't even 6'11". As there's a whistle, there's going to be a timeout on the field. It is 31-24. Suns are in the lead.
Yeah, and the Suns tried to play the Eagles game on a fast break, and that's not their basketball game. When you are in a tight matchup, as this one is, it's only a 7-point ball game, you need to play your style of play.
Exactly. Now, a key thing in this game that we've seen so far would have to be free throws. Would you agree?
Absolutely, and free throws are always a key part of the game. It's essentially handing you a point.
The Sam and Ben motto is free throws, free throws, free throws. If you cannot make your free throws, then you are not going to be playing good basketball.
Yeah, and once you're done with your free throws, more free throws.
Exactly. You've got a shot, no one's blocking you, it's just you, the basket, and a couple of people on either side. You've got literally an open lane. If you can't connect on that, then you've got yourself a problem.
Yeah, it's just 15 foot away, no guarders, no blockers. And if you're playing varsity high school basketball, especially in Florida, at a level as high as Florida, you need to make your free throws.
Agreed. And speaking of free throws, Eric Steigelfest, #1 North Broward standout player, is going to take a couple.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be a key part of this game moving forward and into the fourth quarter, because these teams are playing quite physical, and if it does get into a battle of the free throws, then it's going to come down to who can sink them. And Eric Steigelfest missed his first one there.
Exactly. North Broward's points have come mostly from Eric Steigelfest, Andre Forrester, and Ethan Lasko. And Steigelfest makes one of two. You'll take that, you know, anything you can get. North Broward gets the ball and the fans go wild.
Yeah, that was actually a timeout from University School, and that was the North Broward full court press at work. The full court press attempts to do one of two things, either force a turnover or make the other team call timeout, and they got University School to call a timeout there.
Exactly. Great strategizing by North Broward in this situation. It is 31-25 with 5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the third period. This has been a great game of basketball, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's much closer than a lot of people would have thought. I think the Eagles are hanging with the Suns more than the records showed, because the Eagles are just 4-12 and they're well under 500, while the Suns are 7-6 and over 500. But the Eagles have managed to stay with them because they've taken out Copper Cova.
Although he is back in now, you have to look at historical precedent when you're trying to predict the outcome of games. Now, in 4A District 14, which both U School and North Broward are in, North Broward is 0-4, U School is 1-1. North Broward is 2-3 at home. On the road, U School is 0-1. Really, it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, and going back to that previous University School possession, the Eagles really let Benito off the hook. He missed an easy layup, no one there to get the defensive rebound. He gets his own rebound and lays it in for 2 points.
Sometimes you just get lucky. Andre Forrester with possession, and the ball goes out of bounds. It looks like Coach Wallop was not very happy about that call.
Yeah, he thinks that it went off of, it looks like Nicholas Benito, but instead it's going to be Suns ball.
No, that was an Eagles ball. I don't know why he wasn't very happy. Maybe his mortgage went up or something. I don't know. I'm not very good with finances.
I'm not quite sure, but it will be Eagles ball, and now it's going to be a timeout on the court for North Broward.
The Eagles have been doing a very good job this quarter of paralyzing the Suns. They're not giving them no inch to move. They cannot get to the basket. They're playing excellent defense, and as I said at the beginning of the game, although if you're watching this now pre-recorded, you won't know that because we couldn't record the first half. The key to this game is defense, because the points scored for both teams are pretty similar. That's 725 versus 737 coming into the game, but it's the points against that it all comes down to. In 4A District 14, University School is second in points against. North Broward is fourth. It's all about preventing people from scoring to win this game.
Yeah, and as I said, there is a reason for that second in the district for points against, and he wears number 35. That's Balsa Koprikova.
We're not going to stop talking about Koprikova, are we?
Well, when you're in 8th grade, you're 6'11", and you are a dominating presence on the basketball court. Why would we stop talking about you?
Frankly, I'm a little intimidated, and sitting down right now does not help.
Yeah, no, I am 5'6", standing very, very tall. So when I am seeing a fellow grade schooler who has 17 inches on me, I'm a little worried.
I'm 6'2", and I'm still a little worried. It's not often that I walk into a place where lots of people are taller than me. Unfortunately, basketball games just happens to be one of those places, and I feel a little inadequate sometimes. 24 has the ball over to 10. Koprikova dribbles, layup, comes up with it. He was lucky there. That could have bounced out.
Yeah, but the lucky roll comes from teams that do the right things on offense. The North Broward Eagles need to put more than one guy on Koprakova because he's going to beat anyone one-on-one.
Now, I will like to clarify when I say that ball could have bounced out. On that particular shot, it couldn't have because of the laws of physics. However, if he was a couple of inches one way or another, yeah, that ball probably would not have been made.
Yeah, just to note, the Suns have gone on to 11-3 run in the opening 5 minutes of this third quarter. We're already more than halfway through the third quarter. We play 8-minute quarters in high school basketball. But the Suns have came out of the half making the correct adjustments.
And the long three is no good from 24. Koprakova cannot come up with the layup. Here comes number 10. Cannot come up with it. Koprakova. No. Is it an Eagles ball? Is it a Suns ball? I don't know. You tell me. Ref is saying that it is a Suns ball, I believe.
Yeah, I do believe so. And that block by the Eagles against Koprakova was the result of a proper double team. One guy guards him. The other guy defends the shot. He tries to shoot, and he's blocked.
Now, North Broward has been calling a lot of timeouts this half. Do you think that they're trying to stall for time?
I don't know, because there really is no way at this point to game plan for the Suns. All the game planning has been done prior to this game.
Wait,
and
let me
again
guess.
at halftime.
Let me guess why you can't plan the game. Koprakova.
You know, I'm saying it over and over and over again, but as I have mentioned before, the guy is in fact 6'11". But the guy that we're not talking enough about in green and yellow is Nicholas Benito. Not only is he the team's leading scorer today, but he's been a force inside as well as out on the wing.
That is true. Today's game is sponsored by Koprakova. Koprakova, he's really tall.
And just another note, not only is Koprakova in 8th grade, but Benito's a freshman. So this Suns basketball team is going to be very good for many years to come.
And Benito just came up with one of those layups that were almost dunks, but weren't because he didn't touch the rim. It's now 37-25. Suns are still in the lead. Then again, that's to be expected when North Broward is 4-12, and the Suns are 7-6.
Yeah, that's true. I think the Suns' talent is starting to catch up to them, and they're realizing what they need to do on offense and on defense. But that was a really nice layup there by number 11, Andre Forrester for the Eagles. He's been a big contributor to cut the deficit to 10 points with 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
He came past our favorite man, Koprakova.
He did. You should get a medal for that if you can beat Koprakova.
Exactly. He is the North Broward MVP for beating Koprakova. Not of this game, of the season.
Just for that one move on Koprakova.
Exactly. Stellar performance. Hey, if Joe Namath can get in the Hall of Fame in football for one game, then he can be a season MVP just for beating Koprakova.
Namath was also a pretty decent quarterback throughout the regular season and into the postseason as well. I don't think it was for just that one game.
Well, we have to keep in mind that Namath did throw more touchdowns than interceptions. I am a Jets fan, unfortunately, but that does mean I'm used to rooting for losing teams. Now, the ball comes down to the North Broward basket, and it looks like that was no point. There was a traveling.
Yeah.
Or were you just signaling for me to keep going?
No, that was a travel. That's what I was trying to tell you. And that was, once again, good defense trapping the Suns in their own corner.
Now Lasko has the ball, passes it over to Forrester, comes through over Koprakova again. Greenfield cannot come up with the long shot. Koprakova with the rebound, passes it over to number 24, Acosta.
Yeah, that was good maturity by the senior Forrester, knowing, hey, I don't have a shot. I'm going to give it up to the open man and see if he can drain a three. Unfortunately, he cannot, but that's good shot selection. Once again, I'm talking about shot selection from the Eagles.
Perhaps that could be the Suns' key to success is maturity. Just keep in mind our two best players, not our two best players, their two best players on the Suns, Koprakova and Benito, are in 8th grade and a freshman respectively. Do you think that as they keep playing as the years go on, that their quality of play will increase?
I think so. These guys haven't been playing together very long since they're all in AAU teams, but I think as the months and the years progress, they're going to mesh into a force to be reckoned with in the entire state of Florida.
Exactly. Ahmed Putin, number 5, is going to take a couple of free throws for North Broward. He is been a very good contributor for North Broward in that he is an excellent point guard. He knows where to pass and when to pass. and that has been shown throughout his play this year. And it looks like he is putting some points on the board.
You warned me before the game
I
that
did.
you were going to make that pun, and I was still defenseless to stop it.
I have been waiting until 38 seconds in the third period to make that pun, and it was totally worth the wait.
Gosh.
And he sinks 2 of 2. Free throws. What are we telling you? Putin might become the runner-up MVP.
And Putin, again, showing maturity. He's a junior. Maturity equals good, solid fundamentals. And free throws are the definition of solid fundamentals.
Once again, maturity. Koprikova, as he passed the ball in there, it did a pump fake where there were no players there.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to just play some sort of mind game with the Eagles. They didn't fall for anything.
Exactly. It is that maturity that comes with a much older North Broward roster. There is a single sophomore on the North Broward roster, and the rest is juniors and seniors. Of course, this does mean that North Broward might be in a little bit of trouble next year. And at the end, the buzzer beater is... When he signals down, what does that mean?
That means that it was good. Koprikova got the ball off just before the buzzer. If this was a college or a pro game, the officials would take a look at it on the monitor. Unfortunately, this is a high school game. We can't afford a monitor.
Of course.
So they're just going to count it. But that was really nice hustle by Koprikova to get to the rebound.
Agreed. I was so flustered by that, I didn't know what the referee was trying to say with the pointing thingy.
Yeah, that means that the basket is good.
Okay, I got you there. Speaking of good, this has been a great game so far. It is 39-29 at the beginning of the fourth period. Excellent basketball played by both sides. Pretty clean basketball, too. In this entire half, there's only been 2 fouls drawn by University School and 1 by North Broward.
Yeah, that also shows not only that it's a clean game, it's a game played mostly on the perimeter. Most fouls tend to come from in the paint or near the paint. And so, as the buzzer goes off, that shows that the game is being played on the wings, and I think that's usually advantage North Broward, but the Suns have a 10-point lead.
Agreed. This is an interesting game because sometimes when you're playing ball, whatever sport it is, one team can be playing way better, but not on the scoreboard. This is one of those games.
Yeah, I think the Suns also have superior talent to the Eagles squad.
We work for North Broward. Watch what you say.
Yeah, I'm not putting down the Eagles. Not only do they obviously have some talent, especially in Steigelfest, but they've been putting up a valiant effort against the Suns. But there's not much you could do to defend a 6'11" 8th grader and a 20 points per game freshman.
We speak of Steigelfest, and if you look at the Eagles' score, they scored 29 points. It has been a Steigelfest so far. I would estimate he's made about half of the points for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's the one to turn to. He is their tall force inside. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to have that many touches inside the paint, and when he does, he smartly gives it away because he's got that big force Koprikova there, and he doesn't have any chance with his back to the basket.
Exactly. Speaking of Koprikova, one-on-one, he cannot come up with it. Forrester tips it in. That is 2 points on the board for North Broward. It is 39-31.
That's a hard-working 2 points for the Eagles. Getting inside, pounding it in, getting the rebound, and laying it back up. Offensive rebounds are a great showing of hustle.
I'm going to use a baseball metaphor here. When you're pitching to a batter, you can either pitch straight to him or you can pitch around him. And North Broward right now is trying to play around Koprikova. They're not trying to make any shots while Koprikova's right there. Rather, they are smartly passing and finding where Koprikova's back is turned.
Speaking of Koprikova, he just drew a foul, and now he's going to get 2 shots from the line. Let's see how Koprikova shoots these free throws. Big men are often bad free throw shooters in general.
Look at Shaq. But he makes one.
Yeah, that was a nice touch from Koprikova. That's interesting to see from a 6'11" frame.
Frankly, I don't know why he has to shoot. He can pretty much just, reach up and dip it into the basket. But he sinks too.
Yeah, that's more than you can say for a lot of players on the court so far today. Koprikova establishes himself as a free throw shooter too. What can't this kid do?
By the North Broward Brainwash Sports creed, Koprikova is going places. He is tall, we keep talking about him, and he can shoot free throws. What can he not do? Speaking of not do, he's just kind of standing around as Steigelfest shoots. Block is unsuccessful, but Steigelfest can't come up with it anyway. Number 24, Costa, controls the ball. He's going to bring it down the half-court mark. Once again, zone defense played by North Broward, explaining why he got two men open. He hits one of those. Back to Acosta. Back to Benito. Back to Acosta again.
Yeah, Acosta has a good sense of when to settle down the game and knowing when to push the game.
Now, as University School tips in a basket, I'd like to mention that we are doing this on behalf of Brainwash. Brainwash is North Broward's online magazine. You can find that at brainwashnbps.com. I am the sports editor. Ben is my trusty assistant. And we put out some pretty good content, including running the greatest fantasy football league in the entire world, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is the Fantasy Felon League. You get points based on crimes and penalties that your team commits, and we've had a pretty good inaugural season so far. Unfortunately, my team lost.
That is fine, but we are in the process of naming our MVPs and players of the year and whatnot. It looks like Ray Rice is a shoo-in.
That is true, and there's a timeout here on the court. 5:43 remaining in the game. 12-point ball game. What I see so far is that no matter what the Eagles do, inside, outside, taking away Koprikova, letting Koprikova into the game, whatever the Eagles do, the Suns have an answer.
Exactly. North Broward is trying their best to utilize their superior speed, but the problem is that the Suns are just playing superior defense. You can't use speed if you can't go anywhere with it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is number 24, Swinton Acosta. He's only averaging 1.8 points per game, but he has a fantastic sense of controlling the tempo, which is needed for a point guard.
He is a fantastic setup man, as is Amit Putin, who is on the bench for North Broward right now. As Acosta comes up with the ball, he's on a fast break, intercepted by Forrester. Is intercepted a term they use in basketball?
It is. And that was tremendous from Acosta, making up for his turnover with a steal of his own and one free throw.
Thanks for telling me what just happened, because I was looking down at my roster. Although there is a bit of an audio and video delay on the stream, so we can see what just happened right now. So I gave myself a little bit of my own instant replay.
Yeah, we have a bit of...
Acosta is going to make his first free throw.
And I think after this game is over, the Eagles head coach will be talking about the missed free throws that the Eagles have missed, but they've still put up a very good effort against this tall Suns team.
After the game, he'll also be talking about Koprikova.
As will we.
As will we, for a very long time. I say we make it our mission to mention Koprikova at least once every broadcast we do from now on, regardless of sport.
Should we have like a Koprikova meter as to how many times
a copper
we can
counter?
do that? A copper counter. Exactly. Can we get some sort of graphic up?
Well, we need
a Koprikova.
I can do it.
We need a score bug first. You know, something that tells you the score of this game. It's kind of getting a little tiring telling you manually, which it is 46-31. Now that I mention it, Ethan Lasko takes a second free throw, and he's going to make that. It is 32-46. We will have our copper counter hopefully by the next game. If not, we'll just have to take tally by hand.
Yeah, and that's pretty ambitious, saying that we'll have it by the next game. We'll do our best, but if necessary, we can tally it by hand, as you said. And look at Acosta again, slowing down the basketball game.
Right now we're at 22 Copras.
We're at 22 Koprikovas, according to our cameraman, Matt Weinstein. Or should we just call a Copra a unit of measurement for a Koprikova mention?
I'm not sure. I think we're going to have to consult Merriam-Webster as to the correct grammatical sense of a copper counter.
I agree. We're going to have to find some statistics. Did they make that shot? It looks like the refs say yes.
Yeah, and that was, I hate to say it, but that was Koprikova.
Make
with
that
the
23.
With the and one. He is just too big, too strong for this Eagles team.
Now, fun fact, my glasses actually broke right before the game. The pin came out, so I had to improvise using a paper clip. and this paperclip is digging a little bit into my skin right now, but I will persist because I need to see the game, partially because I don't like being blind, partially because it is my duty to report what's going on to you people, such as Steigelfest making a basket that will not count.
Yeah, no, we have been MacGyver so far, using an iPhone to stream live to you, a paperclip to fix glasses.
Call me MacGyver Weinstein.
We are just all over the technology today.
Exactly, and speaking of MacGyver, that's kind of a good word to describe how North Broward is handling Koprikova. Great three-point by Greenfield. Koprikova is, as we've established, a dominant force on the court, so we have to kind of work around it. Thank you, Matt. That is 25, because I mentioned his name twice. Koprikova, 26. And someone... Who was that, Matt?
My mother.
His mother... Matt Weinstein's mother's text comes up on the screen.
Yeah, we're going to direct our action back onto the court as a nice steal by the Eagles. I'm doing this partially because that was, in fact, a very nice steal to read the eyes of the Suns, but partially also just to distract the public from the fact that we just saw Matthew Weinstein's mother text on the screen, and now we're going to get a stoppage of play.
And partially because I'm cracking up laughing and can't give a decent broadcast when I'm like that. But yeah, that was interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on off of the court, but of course, we should be focusing on what's going on in the court. Don't discount what we're saying at all. Just keep your eyes on the screen you're watching right now. All 6 of you. Wow. As
8. No 6.
Wait, no, that's a 6. That's a 6. And Greenfield cannot come up with this, but the ball is knocked out of bounds by Koprikova. 26. And it looks like it'll be a North Broward ball.
That's 25.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be 4.
No, that was 26. I said his name twice earlier. I counted twice.
We should have a counter for how many times you've cut me off in this game so far. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Lasko, beautiful 3 from downtown. Of course, all 3s are from downtown, but you know what I mean. The score is now 49-38. There is 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in this game.
Yeah, he's really heating up from beyond the arc, and that's what the Eagles need to do. They're down 11 with very little time remaining, just 2:40. So if they're going to come back and make an attempt at winning this game, they need to hit 3s and fast.
Additional reason to hit 3s. If you notice, our favorite player is being set up on the inside of the key. Matt is getting ready for me to say his name, so I will avoid it altogether.
The serve.
Our favorite player is posted inside the key, so the best way to avoid a block shot is to shoot from beyond the arc.
Yeah, but then you run the risk of having a one-shot possession, which is never what you want to do in terms of if you miss the shot. If you miss the shot, you're essentially giving the Suns back the ball because you know Koprikova is going to come up with the rebound.
Of course, there's a timeout on the court right now. The score is University School Suns 49, North Broward Eagles 38. Now, we were talking a little bit about drawing fouls, and it looks like there are 6 fouls. Is that by or drawn by?
I believe that is by the University School Suns.
All right, then that is 6 fouls by the U School Suns and 4 fouls by the Eagles. It is very important to play a clean game, and you have to capitalize when your opponents do not with free throws.
Yeah, once again, we go back to free throws.
As we always do.
As we always do. And this game could be a much closer game, and the conversations of the timeout huddle could be much different if North Broward was the one that were making their free throws. Instead, it's the Suns who have been draining them.
Exactly. It looks like it is... Well, actually, I'm not sure whose possession it is right now. The players are still setting up.
It's going to be Suns ball.
Yes, it is. What would I do without you, Ben? There would be a lot of empty airspace if you weren't here, and I would sound very lonely and desperate and schizophrenic. I might be my own color commentator. I might go to that lane.
Yeah, and that's going to be number 10, Tabachnik, with the ball. I think we're going to have to decide when this game is over. Better name for the Suns, Tabachnik or number 35?
Almost 27 there.
Almost 27, not quite.
Almost 27 on our copper counter.
Can we post comments on Twitch?
We can send messages. I don't know if they're saved, though.
I'm not sure.
They're not saved, but you can send a message.
No, they're not saved, but you can send a message. As Steigelfest looks to send a message to the Suns by passing it off to Roberson, who shoots, air ball, Koprikova, 27. Comes up with it. We'll get a sound effect so that Matt can save his poor malnourished voice.
Yeah, that was actually supposed to be an alley-oop to Steigelfest, but Koprikova reading the eyes of the Eagles offense and able to pick that off.
Once again, talking earlier, we have hit a new low when we have to distract ourselves by counting the times we've said a player's name.
Yeah, no, we're not going to say what player, Matt. You almost got us there as the Eagles draw a free throw.
Oh, Matt, you are a great tormentor, but I can't insult you too much because you hold the camera and do all of our AV stuff. And your your text messages are coming up again. Oh, you're
we have some technical difficulties. If you weren't listening to us earlier or watching us earlier, as we now have video, this is actually streaming from our cameraman Matthew Weinstein's iPhone.
Okay, it's streaming. Oh, there it is on the screen. It is from his iPhone to his computer, then streamed onto the internet for you guys. So, unfortunately, when notifications pop up for Matt, it pops up for all of us. So, Steigelfest hits a free throw.
Yeah, I think this is going to be too little too late. The Suns are up by 12. By 11, should I say, with less than a minute to go. I think this game's all but over.
It's University School's possession. Otherwise, I'd say there is a chance, but when they've got possession like this, they're going to run for time, run out the shot clock as long as they can, and just run for time.
Yeah, this is very classy by the Eagles. They're not going to foul. They're just going to recognize that the Suns have won the game, and should I say, I'm wrong now. The Eagles are going to foul, but this is going to be far too little too late.
32.2 seconds left in the game. From the look of Coach Wallop's face, it can't come soon enough, nor for my vocal cords, because I am getting very hoarse.
Yeah, you've worked 2 games so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Gelfand is a warrior, and I don't know what we've said, but now we're back down to 4 viewers. So I don't know if it was the copper counter that drove people away, but we're down to just 4 viewers now.
Maybe it's the fact that there's only 22 seconds remaining.
This is true. This game is all but done. As the Eagles try to get last.
Gets it in barely as Moore controls the ball, and there's a foul. And yeah, I need some water. My voice keeps cracking. Ben, you take over for a moment.
Yeah, that was Steigelfest who fouled, I believe it is. And now the Suns are going to get the ball. 14 seconds left. I would like to see the Eagles not foul. This game is pretty much over. And It looks like that's what they're going to do. Very classy move from North Broward.
7 seconds left. As I said, I PA announced a women's basketball game before this one, so I'm running a little on empty. 2-1. That's the game. Ladies and gentlemen, your final score is University School Suns 51, North Broward Eagles 40. It was a well-fought game by both sides, but most importantly, we just made history. The first ever live stream broadcast in North Broward's history, athletic or not, has now concluded, and I have to say, I feel pretty good. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, it's been a big accomplishment, and we couldn't do it if it weren't for the help of so many people, namely our cameraman Matthew Weinstein, our athletic director Mr. Ostrowski, and so many other people who we couldn't name. Unfortunately, it's had to come to a close, but we will be back pretty soon.
That is true. Now let's talk a little bit about the game we just saw. Who do you think, you know the answer to this, who was the dominating force on the hardwood tonight?
Well, you would like me to say his name, but I'm not going to. I think that the dark horse was Nicholas Benito.
Okay, so it looks like our copper counter is going to end at 28 for the night. Benito, once again, the University School's top scorer, as he remained in this game. I think on North Broward, it came down to 3 people. It came down to Eric Steigelfest, Andre Forrester, and Austin Greenfield, who connected for some very long threes that kept North Broward relatively in the game despite facing a much better opponent.
Yeah, and if I'm the Eagles, I take this as a good loss, a loss that I can move forward with. It was clear that the Suns had superior talent between Koprakova and
28!
and,
29! Got you!
and Benito. But if I'm the Eagles head coach and if I'm the Eagles squad, even though I lost by 11, I feel pretty good about myself because I stayed with them for most of the game. The Suns ran away at the end, but I take this as a good loss.
Normally, I would say it looks like Coach Wild is going to go into the, what's it called, not dressing room, the locker room, give one of those motivational speeches after the game, but frankly, after seeing how he behaved during the game, I get the feeling there might be some yelling.
Yeah, he seemed pretty steamed throughout the game, and mostly on correct calls. But that's the nature of a basketball coach. You get angry.
Coach Wallop, he played both on the Division I college level and he played in several international leagues. So he's got that real-world experience at the professional level. I can understand why he would get angry at players who aren't quite there yet.
Yeah, and playing at every level, I don't want to say it makes you spoiled because it doesn't, but it makes you come to expect a higher level from your team. And frankly, the Eagles didn't give it tonight. I talked about how they gave a good effort, which they did, but there were some parts of the game that were very much in their control, and they just didn't capitalize.
Now, speaking of expecting better, that is not something that I did with either of these teams tonight, because although you don't know, we practiced beforehand by announcing an Indiana University versus Ohio State basketball game on ESPN.
It was actually Illinois versus Ohio
Illinois,
State.
thank you. Who did I say?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Yes.
We're in the midst. Thank you for the popcorn. We're streaming to the internet right now. Christian Monero, everybody.
I might want some of that popcorn
I might
later.
want some of that popcorn, but I actually have some Burger King left over. Thank you, but I'll pass. But when we watched that game, there was a high level of play, and I think that both the Suns and the Eagles seemed to match it relatively. There weren't as many dunks as in the NCAA game, but I think that when it came to the back and forth action, the consistency, not quite the talent, but the drive of these players, I think that they were pretty on par.
Yeah, I think the similarity between high school and college is they both really want it. When you're in the NBA, you're at the very, very top, especially if you're a superstar and you have a guaranteed starting position. You don't really have any drive and desire, at least not as much as you do in the NCAA when you're trying to get to the NBA. In high school, when nobody knows your name and you're just trying to get a college job.
Exactly. You are trying to prove yourself at this level, and prove themselves both of these teams have. They have played especially well tonight, and because I'm running out of commentary, I think it is time to wrap this broadcast up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. For Sam Gelfand, I'm Ben Curtis. Final score 51-40, University School. Thank you so much for joining us.
It has been an honor and a privilege. It has been a pleasure to host you guys live over the internet for the very first time, and hopefully in a few days we will do it again. This is Sam Gelfand
And Ben Curtis.
signing off.
So long, everybody.
End the stream.